What do you make of this push in the U.S. to like adopt these stable coins?
I think it's a good idea because, because I am not a fan of unregulated cryptocurrency like your Bitcoins of the world. Not a fan of that.
Decentralized. You're not a fan of decentralized.
Decentralized, yeah. No, because it makes it takes away all the incentive. It takes away all the financial benefits of currency exchange. And then it also makes it so that bad guys can use real money to do bad shit. Yes, good guys can use real money to do good shit too. But if you have centralized currency, good guys still get to do good shit and bad guys don't get to do bad shit. So, and you get the financial benefits, meaning every time we have a transaction, some bank collects money off of that transaction, and now you've just increased the production of value, and you've captured currency, you captured revenue as part of that service. So it's
so banks get to make money off of it if it's centralized,
and that's good. That's good because the money that banks make become tax base that pays taxes, so that you and I don't have to pay taxes for uncentralized banking to happen, decentralized banking to happen.
There's an argument that one of the biggest arguments for Bitcoin is that it's decentralized. It's decentralized because it's good, and it's basically equal to like the ultimate freedom, because you can see how people can use money to trap people and turn on and turn off money. That's the biggest fear with decentralized coins. And like in China, for example, they can turn off your wallet, turn off they have the WeChat or whatever thing that can, like, basically you do everything. You bank through there, you communicate through there, and all your social media is in that thing. So like it's an easier way to control and lock down people. And that's what I think people are trying to run away from, and that's what they fear is going to happen with the U.S. government.
Because people are stupid.
Really?
People are stupid, dude.
What do you think about the idea that so with Doge, right? We want to figure out how to cut waste, fraud, and abuse.
Theoretically.
He went after the IRS, the HHS, and the Treasury Department, and they sucked out all this information, and they simultaneously were partnered with Palantir AI. So they want to take all this information of all the individuals in the country, take all their IRS data, all their personal data, all their healthcare data, centralize it into one database, and combine it with Palantir's AI. Use Palantir's AI. Now, if I want to find waste, fraud, and abuse, why wouldn't you just go to the fucking black budget? Why wouldn't you go to the missing $21 trillion and figure out what happened there?
You can't figure out what happened there because it's not documented.
So it seems like
it's also not fraud, waste, and abuse because that money can't get into that budget without essentially being captured outside of the American tax base.
So it's just a big lie, and you have to accept it, that the money's not missing. It's just went to black budget stuff.
Yeah, you just have to accept it. I'm sorry. Like,
right.
Here's nobody likes to hear it, but here's the fucking truth. You are a stupid cog in the American economy, America. If you hear me, you are like me, stupid cog in the system. That's just what we are. Our job is to have a job and pay our taxes. Or your job is to start a business and pay fucking taxes. Or your job is to hire people and then have the people you pay taxes. That's our job. That's why we exist. That's why we die and nobody cares. That's why new people join the workforce and nobody cares. That's our job. Because without us, there's no foundation for a tax base to create military superiority. And if you don't have military superiority, you don't have any protection against some other country coming in and destroying your country. So the United States only matters in as much as the government survives, because it's the government that makes us the United States. And the government knows that. It's not the American people that make us the United States. I mean, I understand all the fucking people who are crying in their panties right now. I get it. But the truth is, most wars are won because an invading force walks into a village, and guess what the village does? Because all they want to do is just keep feeding their kids and keep going to school and keep doing whatever.
Right.
They don't really care if they're France or Nazi Germany. They don't really care if they're Poland or Nazi Germany, right? We're seeing it happen in Ukraine right now. The world is letting Ukraine lose to Russia because the whole world is like, we don't really care if they're Ukraine or Russia. What do we care? We'll have a conversation in Alaska and we'll decide the future of your country because you don't have a voice at the table. That's exactly what's happening right now is Putin and Trump talk in Alaska about what's the future of Ukraine.
Yeah, they're supposedly like meeting right now.
Correct.
As we're sitting
as
here.
we're sitting here, right? And you're listening to us. Yeah, right. But the point is, we just have to accept that we live in a society where we don't have a say. And the one thing that we do have a say in is who gets elected to office. And we don't fucking exercise that say. We sit around and we bitch at the dinner table, and we'll complain at the bar, and we'll drink our Coors Light and try to rule the world from our little bar stool, but we're fucking stupid. Because the one thing that we can do to actually shape the future is to get off our ass and vote every time we have an opportunity to vote, and to do the research so that we have an informed vote when we choose to make that vote. Instead, we have Congress people in Congress who don't represent us, and all we do is complain about it. And when the time comes to reelect them, we either don't go, or we go and just vote based off of some party line.
Yeah, but even the elections are rigged, though. Like even the two people that end up making the primaries on both sides, and you get this binary choice between who's going to be president. It doesn't seem like, I think there's a general sentiment in the country right now that the president doesn't run the country. The president's not even a puppet anymore. The president's just a fucking actor now.
That would be a wrong assessment. That would be
You
a
think
wrong
that's a wrong
assessment.
assessment?
Absolutely. If anything, the president is more powerful now than they've ever been in the past, because the Congress, who's supposed to have power, is a bunch of pussies. So they keep giving more power to the president so that when their constituents complain to them, they can be like, hey, it's out of my hands. The president has the power.
Well, if the president has so much power, let's use Donald Trump as an example, who is doing all the opposite things he would campaign that he was going to do, right? He campaigned he was going to release the Epstein files, campaigned that he was going to drop the debt, campaigned that he was going to stop all the endless wars. He's continued the endless wars. He just increased the debt by 3 to 5 trillion.
Right.
And he's like, who the fuck? Epstein who? What?
Yeah.
You still care about this? He's like, it's insane. And all the biggest people who supported him and campaigned for him, all the high IQ MAGA people,
Right.
are all like pushing back against this now and questioning what the fuck is happening.
Correct.
Like, is he in charge? Because it doesn't seem like it.
So the fact that he can just do what's against his campaign promises shows that he has the power to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. You just gave the exact example as to how much power the president has.
Well, why wouldn't he want to do what he promised the people that he was going to do?
Why do you think he promised the people? Or do you think he just said what he had to say to get elected? It's what every president has done since Obama. It's what every president has arguably done forever, right? They make promises to get into office, and then they don't fulfill their promises. Like we've been littered with failed campaign promises.
Right.
And every president goes through the period where everybody accuses them of not following through on their promises. And then you have a few presidents that try to fulfill that promise, and then they get criticized for that too. That was Obama's Obamacare, right? He's like, I promise we're going to do this.
CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people, that means they can win deals. For others, they can spot liars. Some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people.
And then the only way he could get it done was with executive orders and hijacking Congress. And then when he did it, we're all like, oh, you just broke the thing. You made it worse than it was before. And you created this new precedent for executive orders.
So let me ask you this. Why can't any of the presidents follow through on what they campaign on? Do they campaign on the things that they believe are good?
No.
That the people think are good?
No. They campaign. Presidents are elected officials. And what we have discovered, like what the government has discovered and what professional politicians have discovered, is that the people who vote for the president are determined based on age and a piece of paper that they've filled out. That's basically it. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a vote. Well, how many opinions are right?
Right.
So how many voters do you think actually know what the fuck they're voting for?
Right.
So every 4 years, it becomes a race. Arguably every 2 years, it becomes a race of how do you get people to get off their ass and go vote? Not vote for the right person, not vote for what they believe.
Right.
How do you just get them to just go vote for whatever the fuck they're going to vote
Based on
for?
whatever propaganda you've been indoctrinated in.
Bingo, right? And that's essentially what it is. So that's the game right now. Donald Trump is a marketing master. He knows how people think. He knows so well how people think that he's been maybe super rich, maybe not rich, maybe successful at real estate, maybe not successful. Nobody fucking knows because he's so good at just getting people to take action. That's what he's done. So when he ran in 2016, even the party that he was running for didn't want him to win. And he still won. And then when he ran again, he was a convicted felon. He had all sorts of, like, there was all sorts of reasons why nobody should have voted for him, but he won again. And just like you said, the people who were the high IQ MAGA people who backed him are now not backing him. He even convinced them.
Which never happened with Obama, by the way.
It's just because Obama was still groomed by a party, right?
Right.
There's no party. There's no party with Donald Trump. The party is Donald Trump.
Right.
Right. There is no Republican Party backs Donald Trump. There's no future plan for the Republican Party to stay in power. Like there's none of that. He's just a wild loose cannon that I think the political landscape is kind of like, what if this happens again? What do we do then? Because everything was supposed to be controlled, right? If you remember the leaks that happened when the Democratic Party pushed back, like deliberately held back Bernie Sanders in order to advance Hillary Clinton, like they were shaping their politics. The party was shaping who was supposed to move up in the hierarchy. Donald Trump just threw a giant fucking grenade in the whole hierarchy of the Republican Party. And now they're trying to figure that out.
But who is the party? Like, who are you saying? Are these financial interests? Like, who is the party? Who's deciding who to push Bernie Sanders out and to put Hillary Clinton in? Who are these dark, mysterious people that run the world?
They're not really dark and mysterious, and they don't run the world. So among very wealthy people, you have a few people who are known as kingmakers. Have you ever heard the term kingmakers? Yeah. So kingmakers are people who are so wealthy that a change in policy can massively amplify their wealth or massively deteriorate their wealth. Consider, just as a very simple example, all the people who create paper, right? All the manufacturers that create something based off of the pulp of wood.
Right.
A small change in environmental policy massively transforms the entire paper industry. So you've got lobbyists who are watching out for whatever happens with wood. So whether it's toilet paper, whether it's books, whether it's cardboard, you got lobbyists who are like, wait a second, we want to make sure certain policies don't happen. And even better, we want to make sure that other policies do happen.
Right.
So they get involved into both parties to try to discourage environmental policy in the blue party and try to make sure that nobody encourages environmentalism in the red party.
Right.
So you have lobbyists that get involved, and those lobbyists are backed by very wealthy people who have money tied to these industries. Wealthy investors, wealthy conglomerates of investors, wealthy individuals. And they're not mysterious and they're not dark.
They're the ones who shape each party.
Correct. They're also called market changers, right? And there are people who can literally change a market based off of how they invest. If you follow cryptocurrency, again, I don't like decentralized cryptocurrency, but I think cryptocurrency is the way of the future. Centralized cryptocurrency, a digital US dollar, for example, I think that is the way of the future. But when you look at cryptocurrency, the 30 to 40% of cryptocurrency is these institutional investors, whales, who just pick up the phone and they're like, hey, we're going to buy $10 million of Bitcoin today. And when they buy their $10 million of Bitcoin, the price shoots up, right? Because now everybody thinks that Bitcoin's going crazy. And then after that trade is done, 2 weeks later, the Bitcoin price drops, right? And then they're like, oh, they sell their Bitcoin. They buy 10 million on Monday. The price jumps up by Wednesday. They sell their $10 million in Bitcoin on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then the market turns down again.
Right.
Like that's how super wealthy people work.
So if the government, the United States government, is what really matters and what America really is,
right,
and the people should sit back and suck on their thumbs and let the American empire do what it does, you're also making the argument that it's all run on capitalism and lobbying and industries and things like this. And it doesn't seem like it's a monolithic strategic thing. It seems like it's a very, very discombobulated thing with all these different financial entanglements of people, billionaires, whoever they are, that aren't looking out for anything except for their bank accounts and making sure that their kids and their grandkids are going to have a legacy or have a fail-safe.
So that's what every middle-class person is looking out for too, just to make sure that their kids and their grandkids have some kind of fail-safe. So again, for all you cryny, whiny, panty bitches out there, just get your handkerchief ready.
How dare you?
Yeah. Our country is a perversion of what it was supposed to be. What our founding fathers created here is a far cry from what we have become, right? And I'm not talking about the white landowning male. That's an oversimplification bullshit. What the founding fathers wanted was a country where you would own property, and by owning property, be invested in the future of the country, and only then would you have a vote in what happens to that country.
Right.
So if you didn't own land, you were fucked. You were supposed to be a worker bee, and your whole goal would be to work your ass off so that you could own a little bit of land. And then by owning that land, show that you are invested in the future of the land that you have, and then you would gain the right to have a say in what the future of our country is. We've perverted that to the place now where all you have to do is breathe for 18 years and you get to have a say in what the future of our country is.
Right.
You're not How many fucking people have a vote and they don't even want to live here?
Right.
They're like, oh, you know what I really want to do is I want to go live in Costa Rica off of $14,000 a year. And it's so unfair that my company in California won't pay me to live remotely in Costa Rica. No, you don't have a say. You're obviously not invested in the future of our country, right? You're invested in your own personal future, and you're trying to capitalize off of the few people that actually are heavily invested in the success of the nation.
So are there any people who aren't these oligarchic, capitalistic companies that are trying to lobby for things to go their way? Is there anyone who sits above them that says, let's make sure everything stays on the up and up. Let's make sure this country doesn't fall apart. Let's make sure.
No, there's not. And I think that what we're seeing right now, and for anybody who's trying to anticipate what comes next, you're seeing that there isn't anybody watching out for the actual welfare of the country, because all the people that the forefathers assigned that responsibility to, right? Another perfect example. The forefathers thought that you should be a successful business person before you spent a short period of time as a public servant serving in the Congress. And then you would take a pay cut to work in the Congress so that you would go back to being a productive member of society. We have perverted that process to now you can be a professional politician,
Right.
where you don't ever have success outside of politics. And all you do is spend 20 or 30 years in Congress doing dick all, getting paid what you think you should be paid, because guess who passes the laws about how much congressmen get paid? Congress. So we've completely perverted our system. So as a result, if you look at that over the course of almost 300 years that we've been alive, we've gone from what was a solid theory to this perversion where now everybody who's supposed to be watching out for the future of the country is really only watching out for their own success for the current election cycle, whether that's a president or a senator or a congressman or a school board member or a mayor or a governor. They're not trying to make a better future for America. They all say it, but that's not what they're actually trying to do. Once they say it to get the office, and then once they're actually in the office, they're thinking, how am I going to make it through retirement? What do I need to do to make sure that I can get the next better job?
The next quarter. We got to make sure the stocks are up the next quarter. We have to beat our revenue goal.
Because I need to have something to campaign on again in 2 years. And I want to be able to campaign on a winning government. I want to be able to campaign on lowering the base rate for interest rates. I want to be able to talk I want to take credit for the boom in the economy. I want to talk about how more houses were sold. I want to hide how less jobs were created. That's where we live right now. It's a shitty place to live, but it's where we live right now. And it's not going to get better. It's just not going to get better if we keep thinking that politicians are going to fix it. Because even if they are well-meaning, which if they are well-meaning, they will never make it to office because they'll get chewed or weeded out before that. So then the people who are actual conniving enough to get to the final race, when they take office, they're going to be incentivized the same way every other president and every congressman is incentivized now. Yeah,
this is what you and Karaoke were talking about when you guys were both here last time. You were talking about, I think it was it John Brennan? Somebody that you were talking about how basically this guy just kissed every ass, got all the way to the top of the CIA.
Correct.
And it was just like... You have to be the type of person who is just looking out for themselves, figuring out how to weasel their way through the system to get to the top. And you're going to sell yourself out and all the people around you out to get to where you want to get. And that's the kind of people that are optimized to get these kind of jobs. Like that's how you have to be optimized to thrive in that world.
If you have principles, I appreciate your principles. But you know,
prison, like John Kiriakou.
You know, exactly. You know as well as I do, your principles hold you back. John Kiriakou is such a good example. And I really appreciated our conversation with John, even though I still disagree with John.
You guys agreed on about 90% of the things.
On many of the principled interests that he have. But John is making his money from Russia.
Not anymore. They fired him. He now has a great YouTube channel. He has his own podcast on YouTube.
Hell yes, John. Good job. Good job disengaging from the Russian machine. But I promise you, John is looking at the future and he's like, this is fucked. Mm-hmm. He's like, my dollars in my bank account are about to lose all their value. And then the economic incentives that are coming up are going to force people to either borrow more money, which will cause the government to print more money, which will continue to decrease the value of our dollar. Mm-hmm. He's like, so how do I get my money tied to something other than the US dollar or something in addition to the US dollar? The crypto markets have been going through the roof. Yeah. I don't know if it changed today, but at least for the last 4 or 5 days, they've been doing very, very well because everybody,
attention.
Since, what is it, Friday? So I think since Monday of this week,
really,
they started to rally really strong.
Let's see what it's at. Bitcoin. Oh, it's at 117,000.
It was I think it broke a record on Wednesday, is that right? 120.
120. Yeah, on Wednesday or August 13th, it hit 125.
That was it was 2 days ago.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So crypto markets are rallying because people are like, I need to put my money somewhere other than the US dollar. Because what's going to happen if Trump actually brings down the interest rates and everybody starts borrowing money? We're in a world of hurt, and all the smart financial people know it. But all the stupid cogs in the wheel are like, yeah, bring down those interest rates because I want to buy that house that's overpriced anyways. We forgot that everything got overpriced at the end of COVID, right? So everybody wants to go buy their RV. They want to buy their truck. They want to buy their new house. They want to whatever. They want their fucking inflatable on the lake on weekends. Trump knows that. And Trump knows that we will dig our own fucking hole. And then there's going to be this false boom in the economy because our devalued currency is going to start buying all this other shit. And then people are going to see all this increased sales activity. And that's going to make us feel like we're out of it when all we're doing is getting deeper into it. Meanwhile, the EU continues to have a stable euro compared to the US dollar. And the fucking renminbi in China is sitting here watching and laughing at us because they can manipulate their currency without needing the masses.
Right. Which is what we want to do, right?
It's what we are doing.
We would love to be doing that with stable coins.
So stable coins that are centralized to the currency, like the US dollar stable coin, for example, that is a manipulatable currency, just like the US dollar is a manipulatable currency. But a stable coin like, say, XRP, Ripple, is a different kind of stablecoin because that's a stablecoin that's supposed to just carry value from platform to platform. So there are differences in stablecoins.
I mean, like government sanctioned stablecoins.
Correct.
That
they
like
want
is it Christy Nome?
They want to be able to control those. You are correct.
Yeah.
The government always wants to be able to control its currency because it has to be able to shape economy. So it has to be able to control its currency so it can shape what we dumbasses know about economics, which is this much, right? So they want to be able to say, hey, your dollar value is up. Or if your dollar value is down, they want to be able to say, oh, your dollar's value is down, but your purchasing price is up, right? Or they want to be able to say, oh, it's a soft landing.